pledge allegiance to the flag of the United First thing, approval of November 22nd, 2021 minutes, November accounts payable account summary, approval utility account refunds in the amount of $162.45. Approval payment to Andy over there talking. Approval to payment for Federal Construction LLC for valve pump installation at Layton's Pump Station in the amount of $33,000. Approval payment to Crawford, Murphy, and Tilley for professional service for KDOT project number AV 2020 and 13 in the amount of $2,000, and approval payment to Crawford, Murphy, Tilley for professional service for KDOT project number AV 2020-14 in the amount of $3,000. Approval of municipal judge's report for November 2021 minutes. Is there a motion we approve the consent agenda as read?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
There's a second.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments. We'll vote. Aye. Motion carried. Regular agenda, none. Public comments, petition, memorial, there's none. Old business, a review of extension grants for minimum housing code violations. Able action to be taken or order structure removed or demolition and approved listing bids for removal and salvage in said property. I guess we got Dean. You want to come up? And I guess you're on the list there, so. Go ahead.
Ask me questions. You said when I was here last time, you didn't get to ask me questions.
Well, I didn't. Yeah, you walked out on me.
No, I had another appointment.
Oh, I see. Do you have another appointment tonight so I can talk to you?
I'm listening.
Okay. All right. Well, we got your property on the list. I guess what I'm asking is where you at on it, and
Well, the 113 South 6 definitely does not meet the minimum housing code, and there's no cohabitation. There's no living in 113 South 6, and it's being worked on, but it's going to take quite a while.
are you working on it now?
No, I'm not today. I was working on trying to keep the vehicle running.
Well, I see. Okay. Well, what kind of time you need, Dean? I guess that's what I'm asking.
Well, sometime next spring. Because right now I've got continuing education courses to get completed this week for insurance license. I've got the CDL exam at Seneca to keep my CDL. I've got 3 death claims that's pending. Almost every week, I got 2 people that die every week. And I've said that if I had the guts to sell them insurance, I should have the guts to service it, take care of it, instead of doing it by computer or by doing it over the phone. And it's worthwhile. Definitely doesn't pay a dime, but it's worthwhile.
Well, Dean, I guess we're not interested in tearing your property down, but we're interested in making sure you go in and work on your property. And you have been working on it, haven't you?
Well, can't you tell by driving by? You never look.
Well, I look at the back and I see all the windows and doors open, so I assume you're hauling stuff out
Do what now?
on the backside. Are you hauling stuff out or not?
Yeah, every time I leave, I take something with me.
Oh, I see.
That's got a rule. Always take out more than what you bring in. Serious.
So any major project you got a plan for a major project?
Yeah, but there's the real major project takes about $20,000 to $30,000, which I don't have. And I've got to get it settled before anything else can be done. And Dave Wilson, he knows, he and I have discussed it many times.
Good. So what, if we give you an extension, how much of an extension would you need, Dean?
Well, at least next spring sometime, March or April.
So you're talking 6 months?
Probably, that'd be right.
I'll make a motion to grant them 6 months extension.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Motion been made and second to give Dean an extension for 6 months. Is there any other comments?
Do we need to have a specific meeting date that we look at for that, or? Or is it?
There should be a meeting right before that. We have the 13th of June, which is 6 months.
Uh,
Yeah, there's a meeting on the 13th of June, which would be 6 months.
Good.
Is that right?
Well, there's a motion and a second, and is there any other comments?
Other than I got in a hell of a fight since the last time I lost half my teeth, cost $2,000. I got the other half to do, and I'm getting things people calling, when you're going to get the other half out. I'm using a Norwegian thing called procrastination. I've got one tooth that I can still chew with. When they take these other out for another $2,000, I'll have to gum everything. And anyway, it hasn't been fun. But
Well, I've noticed that, Dean.
you did notice it. Well, good for you. I'm trying to stay away from the city hall because the last time I was here 19 years ago, it cost me $100,000 that I could use today. And that house is on the National Register of Historical Houses, built in 1892 by the people that had the store right across here. You can see it from here. And it's being occupied, and it's got a Swede in there now. Before that, we had Norwegians in there. We were my surgeon's son, that's the only home he ever knew, 37 years. And that was one hell of a battle. I was here every Monday night, except for 4 when my great grandkids were born, and I missed them. But I still know how to fight, and I can fight, but I've turned it over to the Lord. The Lord's in charge, and he'll never give you more than what you can handle. And
Yeah. Well, we don't want to go back in history. We're looking forward now. So
yeah, but you need to take care of history or you won't know where you've been. And if you don't know where you've been, you're going to end up as a communist nation. We are so close to it. I've got soldiers that are still left in Afghanistan. I buried 9 of my soldiers killed in combat with communists. And I never did battle, but I'm fighting the fight for them for freedom. And if freedom isn't worth fighting for, then go back and turn it over to the Germans or to the King of England. We've got to wake up. Americans have to wake up because we're in real serious trouble in this country right now. I mean, totally serious.
well, we're just working on one issue tonight. We're not going back to tonight. I mean, I follow history well, indeed. So we're just working on it, and we give you an extension, and you got something to look forward to see what you accomplish in the next 6 months. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, Dean.
Merry Christmas. And it isn't Happy Holidays. It is Merry Christmas. And if you don't know that, only pray for you.
Thank you, Dean.
No vote yet.
Do what?
Um,
Now we're voting.
All in favor?
All right,
Aye.
you made her through, Dean. Well, I guess the rest of them will get on the list. Nobody else showed tonight. So I guess, is there a consensus from the commission, what to do to these other properties?
I guess, Mayor, in my opinion, we should just wait until spring for everybody, because it's not like we don't have enough houses to tear down. And that way you're not gonna have to, we don't have to make hard decisions on kicking people out in the winter. So, I mean, if we could get them to them now and get rid of them, then that'd be a different story, but I'm assuming we have enough, don't we, on our list that we wouldn't be able to get to them anyway.
Correct.
So,
Well, I'm not interested in kicking nobody out in the winter time either. So, I mean, I think passing this on down. Actually, how about a date, Becky?
when,
Just,
I don't know, June. Do more like April. Yes, Dave, I'm sorry.
but
If I could.
go ahead, Dave.
Four of the properties have some building permits. And the building permits run for 6 months from the time they're issued. And so I would say at a minimum, and a couple of them are in progress. One I got a call from, it's the 804 Kansas Avenue. He's done quite a few improvements there. And he just acknowledged that there's a portion that he hasn't gotten done yet. And his 6 months on the building permit comes due, I think the 7th of, I think it was the 7th of December. I told him that I would extend the time because he has made progress. It's made the structure presentable. So that's one of the four. One of them is Mr. Tollison's plumbing permit, and he would like to see some progress made on that. That's one thing that makes the property unfit for habitation. It has to do with the water. So it's got some time on that permit, and he may need some more time, but I think it would be according, and not necessarily just add more time to the minimum housing conditions, but adding more time to the building permit that's already in place.
How many of these properties is habitated? There's people living in them.
Well, there's 507 Miami. I'm not, you may have some copies of some exterior views there.
Yeah.
It is, I'm disappointed with the progress there, but the permit is still standing, and they've got a lot of work to do just on the exterior. But at a minimum, I would suggest that we add time to the building permit and demonstrate that the work's being done there, as opposed to not doing the work at all or showing progress. So the other property is 308 South 10th Street, has a building permit. The evidence of progress is minimal, if any, at that location, but somebody stirred around in some things. There's a,
Did they start tearing that garage down, or did that fall in?
no, I think they started tearing it down.
How
And
long's it been like
it needed
that?
to be torn down.
How long has it been like that, in that condition?
Oh, a couple months.
I hate to
Or-
see that sit on.
Yeah, I've
Probably
there
seen
are
it.
since-
people living in it 308?
They're not supposed to be.
Okay. Oh,
Um,
no,
Well, that's property over there. Are they gonna clean that property up? What you think they're,
I have no inclination, based on the past history, that they'll do anything to improve that property, but that's to be seen. They do
well,
have a
see, the only
building
thing of
permit.
value is that dog crate.
Yeah, there may be some things they're entitled to salvage.
Well, I'm not gonna salvage because I don't have a dog and I'm not gonna get in that fight either, so.
Well, I mean, when,
Well, that thing there needs cleaned up. I mean, that,
right, but would, I mean, if we, do we already have a schedule on the houses on what we're gonna tear down?
Yeah, I get it on my phone. Thank you.
actually, this air property, are they gonna complete the job or not?
Well, the building permits there, and I'd say, I think in all fairness, we should
Give them time to do
give
it,
them time until,
but it's not a hazard where we
to-
need to go up and flag it and put
no,
tape around it or anything.
not, I mean, they agreed with us to submit a building permit and make progress. It doesn't appear that there's a lot of work going on at the 308 South 10th Street location, but
I guess the
miraculous
garage
things can
was-
happen.
Is what scares me more than anything, because that could fall in on somebody.
60-mile-an-hour winds.
Yeah, tomorrow.
They may take care of that.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they
Yeah.
worked on, have it worked on it since we've seen this picture? Or you just take it for
I took, this is all as of the 13th. I actually took the pictures on the 10th. So they're new,
fresh?
fresher. But that's all I had. The other, I think you have copies of the comments and photographs, so I just think at least on those,
Do you think any of these people are gonna step on board and redo any?
but by the way, 412, I meant to say 412 Miami Street is in the process of being purchased. And the contractor's a building contractor, and is capable of doing excellent work. So I have,
Is that the one raised, wanting to buy?
yeah, yes.
Okay. Well, I guess, other than the garage, I guess the rest of them is not a major. If we want to throw them into April, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. And then, of course, we give Dean 6 months extension on his property, so and I'm sure Dean will have that up to snuff in 6 months. And if he don't, he'll be back, so. I think extending this, other than the garage, I think maybe just make sure they're following up on it, I guess. It's close to falling down on the one side, so I would soon. Right away, I mean.
It's serious. So if any other questions, I'll,
I mean,
Yeah.
I guess my question is, if we said this needs to be taken care of now, what recourse do we have? What?
Dangerous and unfit resolution or accumulation, something along those lines, but I'd say dangerous and unfit.
Yeah.
Dangerous and unfit, is that resolution or ordinance? Resolution.
The garage though can be determined. We don't have to do the house.
And I believe there's even immediate, I mean,
Yeah.
when it's this hazardous that allows for not the very next day, but 3 days or something to that effect where just for the garage.
So that we come in and tear it out and give them the bill.
Well, assess. I don't know if that one calls for sending a bill and then assessing it by, I believe so.
Yeah, but dangerous and unfit, you know, different.
Okay, I guess we got a consensus. I guess other than that property there, I guess. I don't know what to say. I mean, it needs to be either pushed in or something, so I don't know, if some kid gets in there, gets playing and something falls over on him, I guess it could be an issue. So, I don't know, that's the only. They started on it, I assume they didn't just quit, did it? Or you don't know.
I can't tell that there's some things moved around, but there's no definitive completed work and in the building permits, there's a requirement, in my opinion, to report when they have segments of the work completed so I can inspect it. And that's not been done. So there's no inspections done on.
You don't think it's ever going to happen then?
I don't, but
Okay.
miracles happen.
Okay. Well, it's getting close to Christmas. Dean just reminded me.
It could, we could bring back a kind of an emergency demolition, dangerous and unfit at the next meeting. And maybe even during that time, reach out to the owner, say, this is what, just for the garage, this is what's going to happen. And then who knows, they might
just clean it up.
Yeah, take care of that portion of it, before the next meeting, but we could do that. And then on the rest of the structure, the house and the rest on the list, aside from Mr. Tollefson's, you could do the extension
So
that we were talking about.
well, I need a motion. I need a motion on the properties other than the garage. And for an extension till April. What's the meeting in April?
11.
So the Davidson, I think, properties.
Would have been maybe the 27th.
Whatever, I mean, it don't make a difference, 27th or whatever, just as long as it's.
We want to make a motion to extend all the properties except the garage at 308 South 10th.
Everything with that garage.
I'll make that motion. If I don't know what the date we just decided
April
was.
11th.
April
Are you
11th.
all okay?
It's fine, whatever.
Second.
Motion been made and second to give everybody an extension on all the properties other than Dean's was already extended for 6 months, and then with the bring us back at the next meeting on the complete cleanup of the garage itself and whatever paperwork needs to be done, make sure it happens. So is there's a motion? Second?
I seconded it.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? Comments will vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Okay, I guess there was the rest of this is need to address anyway, so I mean grants another extension specifications, discussion until further dates, and it's all been addressed in the first motion. So next is discussion of the ARPA fund project. Kind of give us an update. I didn't bring my sheet, but whatever. So.
So everybody got me their say selections, recommendations for the projects and the ARPA funds. So what I did on the second sheet I summarized every, kind of put it all together. First showed, what was selected and how many were selected in 21 and how many in 22, but got to thinking about it. With some discussion with Commissioner Middendorf, really it's about the totals. So I added the total column. As you go down, you can see, like, for instance, engineering reimbursement and Layton's lift station and the SCBA packs all, received a recommendation from all 5. So I ranked those as 5 and then went through and hit the 4s and then the 3s to, until money was extended or expended. But then also set them up how they fit into each year's disbursement. For instance, with the funds that we received this year, and going off the rankings, it would allow for, and the Fisher Center AC was another 5. So it'd allow for the engineering reimbursement, Layton's lift station generator upgrades, Fisher Center ACs. That leaves $23.67 from what we've received this year. Then looking at, what we'll get next summer, went with the rest of the rankings until now it ends up being over by $5,108.66. Some of this stuff, a lot of this stuff will require bidding. So it might free up some money, but I figured, worst case, we can find within the departments to kick in towards, that are getting projects to kick in towards that 5,108. We can cover that if it's over by a little bit. That's how I kind of threw it out here. But it's obviously up to you all. How to spread it around.
Well, I guess the engineering and the lift station looks to me like the top, and then the Fisher Center is on the disbursement of funds. And Mary, we have the funding for them 3, don't we?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I think to go ahead and start these projects and get to going. I mean, and then the second phase, I mean, that's when we get the money the next time. So
Correct.
but I think that actually, as far as the Fisher Center goes, I think the money can be put in place to get them air conditioning units started right now, and instead of waiting until spring, when we need them. And as far as your engineering reimbursement in Layton Duncan's lift station, I think the numbers are good enough there that we need to go ahead and start them, get things going on them. I think that getting the first phase of and then if we have to move the rest to another stage, and the second phase going in, and I think if the numbers coming in, we can move the rest of the second phase. And I think we need to get started on some of these, and I asked for the consensus of the commission, and it sounds like that they got it on board. And I see Fisher Center got close to top priority, and I think that's one that once we spend that money, then hopefully we won't have to look at that thing for another 5 to maybe 15 years, I hope. But that there needs to be started, and these guys like to work in the wintertime anyway. And I think we need to get all these projects as far as the engineering reimbursement, stuff like that. It can be handled by paperwork and stuff like that. And Layton Duncan lift station needs to be addressed. And, I think that's one phase of that done, didn't you?
Layton's the pump, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got the pump done. So actually the rest of it, you're ready to go. close.
Yeah, we're ready if we do the second pump, but if we do the generator. Then electrical consumption, because the pumps are changing. But I can be shovel ready for a project.
Do what?
2 weeks' time, I can be shovel ready for a project.
Sounds good to me, so. I think that's where we need to start off and actually, I think we need to, as far as Fisher Center, we need to get that ready to go as close as we can ASAP and I think and if he says he's shovel ready in 2 weeks, that's closer than I ever heard anybody before, so. So I think we need to go ahead and start with the first processes of funding and get it going, so.
The commission's already approved soliciting bids for the Fisher Center ACs, but we held off knowing that, one, it was cooling down and this
Got
was
any
being
bids
worked
in
on.
yet?
Hmm?
You get any bids in?
No, we haven't. We haven't solicited yet. We just have the approval. But I said, we held off knowing this was coming up and that winter was coming as well. So as far as that part, we can get going on that. We would need a motion to solicit bids for Layton's generator. But that, if that's the outcome of all of this.
Might take 3 or 4 months to get it, so it might not hurt
Yeah.
doing it now.
Mhm.
Whether the rest of the parts are. The specifications are slightly changes, and I'm ready to let them go.
You want this just single motions?
Well, if that's the direction from the commission on that specific, that specific piece will be a part of, or, to use the Arpa funds for it, then yeah, we would ask for a motion to solicit bids for a generator for Layton's lift station.
I'll go ahead and make the motion to start the process on the generator for the Layton Duncan lift station. And is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. So is there any other comments? Other comments, will vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, I guess I'm gonna make a motion for the Fisher Center AC unit.
We
And
have that.
Yeah, you all covered that. Oh, shoot, 3 months when the ACs went down, you approved soliciting bids. We just haven't done it yet. We just haven't solicited, so that's covered.
You wanna go out for bids?
Yeah, but we already have your approval to solicit
Okay.
bids.
All right, the next thing I'm gonna go is the engineering reimbursement for the sewer department, and I'm gonna make that motion too. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, I don't think we got any more money.
Well, do we
No,
make-
that's this year's funds that we have. I mean, and that's, I was sitting here thinking, sorry,
No, there you go.
really, there doesn't need to be any action. I don't feel on, well, for our report, do we need to know specific? Well, okay, so, yeah.
So we need a
Sorry.
motion to approve the 2022 usage of funds.
Yes, however, the commission decides to divvy that up. All the 5s, the 4s and the 3s are covered in here. The 2s that didn't get covered are the storm sewer replacement installation and camera system upgrades.
Well, you got your water main there. You can, them probably needs to be moved into the next stage. And, this altar vital light, it looks like it's second phase, it looked like it had top priority.
So is it okay if I just make the motion to approve the 2022 funds as presented? Or do we feel a need to go one at a time? I'm good with just,
I don't know. I guess as long as the money's there. Is the money there, Mike?
Well, we won't get it until next summer, so we wouldn't move forward. But as far as the report that we need to send in for ARPA, we need to tell them what the plans are, for the use of the money. So that's where this would be beneficial.
I just put it in one blank vote.
okay, I'll make that motion then.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second to go into the 2022 as a blank number, votes. And is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing is discuss utility billing software issues. I guess, I don't know how many of you want to talk at one time, 3 of you or 1. Lynette?
This way we're up here if you have questions.
Okay, well, I like all 3 of you anyway. Okay, kind of discuss what the problem is in the utility billing side. I think that you kind of made that we need just a little bit more help on billing side.
Okay. Jenny is our utility clerk and she does the utility billing. The software that we've used for 10+ years. 15+ years. 15+ years. Lynette knows that software inside and out. Jenny she knows it, she's doing the billing, but we have an issue with our billing because we do our service orders, they're connected to the accounts. So if you do a service order and it changes anything, like who lives there, what the readings are, it changes the file that we send out for the meter reading. So we have to send out a file, create a file from G-Works to the meter readers, Mueller. And if anything changes in there, then it affects the readings. So that affects the billing.
So what we're talking about is you want to change the date of the billing.
No,
So-
just reading, the
no.
reading.
Reading.
Change the date of the reading.
So they're gonna read
Right
it
now,
the
we
same.
read on the 5th,
Okay,
anywhere between the 3rd and the 5th. I do not run the bills until around the 22nd. So that's like a 20-day period in there. And in that time frame, there's a lot of work orders of people moving in, people moving out, people moving in, people moving out. So it's not collecting all the new customers and it's not collecting the reactivated landlord accounts. So we're having to do 4 and 5 different steps to verify, to make sure everyone's actually getting billed correctly.
so you think it's gonna be more efficient?
I spoke to Heidi, which is with G-Works, and she says we are the only people that she has in her area that she works with that does that time frame. That time frame was, remember, the guys were out doing handwritten and the utility clerk was having to manually enter everything. She says if we cut that down to a very small window, we will eliminate the majority of our issue.
So you think that software can keep up? After 16 years? Well, I don't want to talk
It'll
about
be better
it.
than it is right now.
Yeah,
That's what the
we
best
spend
is
enough
right
money
now.
tonight.
That was diplomatic.
You want to move it to when?
It's about the 16th to the 19th or 16th to the 18th.
You went over this with Brad already.
Yes.
Okay, so well, I guess everybody's on board. I guess we might as well be too. So your motion,
I'll make a motion to change the billing date to reading date to, what was the date?
16th to the 18th.
You want no earlier than the 16th?
Yeah, no.
Something like that? I mean,
No earlier than the 15th.
no earlier than the 15th.
Right. More than 5 days.
That way-
Service orders I can hold back and it won't cause.
Birthday's coming up, so.
That way, depending on weekend or something, it gives them a little.
All right, yeah,
No earlier than the 15th. Would that work? Okay.
Good.
That's-
Yeah, that sounds fine.
is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made in second. Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
All right.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Thanks, girl.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got, we'll save one. We got one heading out the door. All right.
I have one question on that. Do we need to notify our customers that we're gonna
Change the
mess up
billing.
I mean, I'll not mess up, but
We'll put that on.
It'll-
alter the reading cycle because their bills will look different for a month or so. Does that
We're
make
gonna
sense?
inform them, through
The newsletter and Facebook.
yeah.
Okay, just curious. Yeah. That's good.
Could we put it on a bill back? I mean, for
We don't
that,
do bill backs.
for that first time, I mean, no. Or an insert or something, just to let them know this, because yeah, it'll be longer. The reading period, that first time will be a little longer.
Yeah.
That way-
Maybe write a note on the front of the bill.
Yeah.
Cool.
Well, everybody's billing's changing. I noticed the gas companies changed theirs too, and they've changed, so they want to let us know up front. They're gonna charge us 3 times as much, so that's nice of them. And, next thing is consider approval of contract with occupational assessment service with Hiawatha Community Hospital, and that's where we get our drug tests in it. And so we do this every year, I guess. Our local hospital don't want to handle it.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract for occupational assistance services with Hiawatha Community Hospital for 2022 and authorize the necessary signatures.
Second.
Motion been made and second, but I still got the same question.
The, their strengths before employment, so it's a pre-employment screening.
Well, I don't need a lot of explanation. I just want to know why we don't, why don't we use our own facilities, so. All right, made a motion and seconded. So comments will vote.
All in favor?
All
All
right.
right.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, I guess we got to consider approval contract for 2020 PCP and drug testing service with Hiawatha Community Hospital.
Make a motion to approve the contract for 2022 PCP and drug testing services with Hiawatha Community Hospital and authorize the necessary signatures.
Motion been made. Is there a second?
A second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any comments? No other comments. We'll vote.
All in favor?
All
All
right.
right.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval of contracts for firefighter service. We have, actually, Mike's went through all the numbers and he sees no reason for an increase in the fees on the firefighter service. We have with Hiawatha Township, Padonia Township, Satin Fox Travel Nations, right at this moment. So, I mean, I see no reason not to ahead and approve the contracts with Hiawatha, Padonia, and Satin Fox. Signed, so I guess this is something, and down the road, if we have a service, we can adjust the numbers then if we go into a district, fire district or something, so. But I think this needs to be addressed so we can go ahead and 2022 through 2024 fire service. Is there a motion we approve of?
Mayor Collins, I would ask, it could be possible. I don't know the townships and the tribal nations schedule for meeting. It could be possible that they've already met this month. I would also ask if a motion is made, that it include extending the current contract through January to allow them time to meet if they don't have time left this year, just to be on the safe side with them.
I don't see any reason they wouldn't be signed back up, but I mean, it was fine with me. I don't care. So if you want to stipulation that they give them time to review them or what?
Well, just in case the township has already met, one of the townships or the tribe has already met this month, that allows them to take this up at their meeting in January.
The contract's up in January.
Yeah, it would, what I'm asking is to extend the current contract, I guess, until they have a time to review and take action on
Okay.
the proposed contracts.
That's all we need is a motion then.
Yeah, I'll make a motion to send the proposed contracts for 2022 through 2024 fire services to Hiawatha Township, Bedonia Township, and the Saginaw Tribal Nation with the presented amounts for each, and authorize the mayor and city clerk to sign. And until then, to extend their current contracts through the month of January. Does that work?
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve the contract. Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval reappointment for Richard Jarvis and Commissioner Mettendorf for the tree board for the term to expire on 12/31/22. And I'll make that motion that they be reappointed. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval to reappoint Floyd McElwain to a 3-year term to the airport board. I've served with Floyd on the board and I think he's an outstanding. Also, he ran some of our hangars out there and he's an asset to our board. And so I'd make a motion to reappoint Floyd McElwain to a 3-year term in the airport board.
I'll second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval appointment of city commissioner to the land bank board and trustees. I had some, I was just trying to figure out, and I talked to Mike today about appointing a commissioner. Me and Dave is up for election next year. And yes, we've got 2 of them that's going to step down. So I said, I think I'm going to go ahead and appoint Dave Mettendorf to the land bank board of trustees. And if anything changes during the election, then we'll move him down to cover one of the other positions. And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried.
Abstain.
Didn't want to leave you blank, Dave, but I'd have to do a little research before I do anything. Okay. Next thing, consider approval to hire a full-time municipal court clerk. And I think that they picked a candidate. And, so, actually, I'm interested in making sure this happens because this clerk we're going to need down the road, and I think we just need a motion approval to hire a full-time municipal court clerk. Is there a motion?
We would ask also as part of the motion, if one is made at a wage of $15.61. So it's, although. Yeah, actually, we don't need that in there because they're not going to start and we're and also for your consideration tonight is a salary ordinance for 2022. So actually, disregard.
What'd you say, 1562?
1561, but it actually doesn't need to be in the, well, that's assuming the salary ordinance passes.
Well, I think you already give them the number, didn't you? I just go ahead and just entertain a motion. We approve of full-time municipal court clerk. I mean, you are here and she's accepted it, didn't she?
Yes.
So I guess.
Make a motion to approve hiring a full-time municipal court clerk.
For a second,
I'll second it.
motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval of temporary permit for Hiawatha Country Club to serve alcohol liquor for the Hiawatha Foundation New Year's Eve fundraiser.
I'll make a motion to approve the temporary permit of the Hiawatha Country Club to serve alcoholic liquor for the Hospital Foundation New Year's Eve fundraiser.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and second to approve temporary permit for the Hiawatha Country Club. Is there any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval of donation of 3 splash passes for the aquatic facility for the Hiawatha After Prom Committee. We've done this for several years, and I'd make a motion we approve this 3 splash passes for the aquatic facility for
I'll
the
second.
motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, consider approval of ordinance 2103, recommendation approval of ordinance acting chapter 5, article 5, regarding the licensed operation mobile food truck vendors within the city of Hiawatha, Kansas. And I think they got some, I think the number is what? Go ahead, Andy.
Last meeting, we talked about an ordinance just for your review after some input from the commission. This is a different ordinance. It's not really different. It's shorter. It has less restrictions. It's less burdensome on the food truck vendors to comply with the ordinance. Basically, what it would require is if you're a mobile food truck, you present the clerk with your state licenses, state permits, name and address, pay the fee, and you get your vending license. Most of the rest of what was in that prior ordinance is covered by some other statutes, but it's, I think easier for the clerks and certainly less burdensome on our law enforcement to enforce compliance with this ordinance. So.
Yes, I did entertain a motion. We approve of ordinance number 2104.
Three. Make a motion to approve ordinance 2103, an ordinance enacting chapter 5, article 5, regarding the licensing and operation of mobile food truck vendors within the city of Hiawatha, Kansas.
Yes, I missed over that article. I moved on to the next one. So, all right, there's been a motion made. Is there a second? Motion been made and second. Any other comments? Comments will vote.
Commissioner Shamber?
Aye.
Commissioner Wilkie?
Aye.
Commissioner Shepherd?
Nay.
Commissioner Bendor?
Aye.
Mayor Collins?
Nay. Motion carried. Next thing is consider approval of ordinance 2104. It's determined and established that salaries and compensation to be paid to employees and certain other officials of the city of Hiawatha Kansas and set forth here herein roll call vote. Actually, we do that yearly too, so I mean, it's not like it's, so I guess I'd entertain a motion, we approve ordinance 2104.
Make a motion to approve ordinance 2104, an ordinance determining and establishing the salaries and compensation to be paid to the employees and certain other officials of the city of Hiawatha, Kansas. It's set forth therein.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, roll call.
Commissioner Wilkie,
Aye.
Commissioner Shepherd,
Aye.
Commissioner Middendorf,
Aye.
Commissioner Shamber. Aye. Mayor Collins.
Aye, motion carried. Next thing, consider approval of land lease agreement with Brown County Historical Society for historical farming. I guess we gotta, do we have a number, Mike?
Number,
Dollar? Well,
$1. This is, yeah, with the Historical
well, I
Society.
questioned Liz or Tish and when she was lost, so I just had to question you next, so.
Yes, it's for $1. It's for their historical farming practices of the ground. I did add a section. I believe it's, if I remember right. Where's that?
Well, for $1, we don't need a lot of extra language. Unless we're gonna have Andy write it.
Apologize,
The important thing about this is that if we have some economic.
Yeah, to get in or out, so, yeah.
Where?
Okay.
Hang on.
Find it, Mike.
Oh, there. Routine. No,
Well,
not in here.
well, that's all right. I mean, it's not a major deal.
What I added for the economic development.
Did,
I thought it was,
did you write the agreement in there? We can cancel out.
okay, lease or reserves immediate, yeah, there it is, sorry, I was looking for a different title. But yeah, like Andy said, basically it says that the city reserves the right to immediately end the lease agreement or part of the land leased in the agreement with written notification for the purposes of economic development.
Yeah, now that's the only thing we needed to edit in is
Yeah.
make sure we could get out of it. Somebody wanted to take that 10 acres down there and develop it into something. So, okay, we got that settled. So is there a motion we approve the land lease agreement with Brown County Historical Society for $1?
I'll make the motion.
For a second,
I'll
Second.
second.
motion's been made and seconded. Any other comments? No other comments, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
Carried. Next thing is the consider approval of an agreement with the Kansas Department of Children and Families for providing water, wastewater assistance payments to the city. And that, I assume that money's coming from the Kansas Department of Revenue. And so we can subsidize some of the people that can't afford to pay their bill. Okay.
How's it work? People can sign up with Department of Children and Families. Once they're approved, then the department pays us.
Correct.
They're, yeah.
And they want to do a direct deposit into our.
Is there a motion we approve the agreement with Kansas Department of Children and Families for this provide water and wastewater assistance program payments to the city?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any other comments? Comments will vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Motion carried. Next thing, executive session for attorney client relationship. KSA 754319 B2. Motion to the city commission to recess into executive session in the conference room for a period of
15?
15 minutes. Discuss potential litigation and justification for the close, well, whatever, you can read it. And so back in 15 minutes.
I'd
I
like
have
to make-
35, we'll start from 36. So 51,
So,
51.
am I reading?
Yes, please.
I can make a motion that the city commission recess into executive session in the conference room for a period of 15 minutes to discuss matters of potential litigation. The justification for closing the meeting is to consult with the city attorney to discuss matters privileged under the attorney-client relationship. The open meeting will resume at 6:51 PM in the commission chambers and to include the city commission attorney and administrator.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any comment, no comment, we'll vote.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
You gonna start reading it? Okay, what time is it? At 6:52. I lost where we were at. The city commission is called back into open meeting. The commission took no binding action during executive session.
Second. Aye. Motion made and second. We'll vote.
Aye.
Motion carried. Hugh's gone. Next thing is Dave Wilson, he's gone.
Nick couldn't make it tonight.
Nick gone. He ain't here again. Gene?
The ladder truck last month. And they told me it was gonna be like 18 weeks out. Well, today it showed up. So we'll be putting it on the truck and getting more of it set up and ready to go.
Well, good.
Other than that was it.
Brad?
I'll just give a quick update as to what we've been doing at the water department. Personally, I've been working on, we have an issue with our lagoons evaporating. They are filling up. This is the waste from our water plant. Our lagoons are filling at a rate that we're not getting the evaporation that we're supposed to at these things, and they're filling up instead of evaporating. And so we've done some tests at these lagoons to see the quality of the water in them. And I'm currently in talks with the engineer on what we can do with this water. I don't have any answers for you right now. We got the results last week and he's got to be getting with the state. At the same time, I'm looking to find ways to enhance the evaporation out there. So hopefully that we can get the lagoons acting the way they're supposed to. The best that we can figure is that is mostly rainwater in these lagoons. We've had a couple of pretty wet years since the water plant was built. I'm continuing on this issue. I want to have something definitive by, I want something definitive by spring so we can get something in place when evaporation season is there.
What's the test running on them? Is there anything we can dump right back in the creek?
That's what we're hoping. The nitrate in one lagoon was a lot higher than the other one. The nitrate in the South Lagoon, which is the bigger one, or the North Lagoon, which is the bigger one, was, we have levels of 108 milligrams per liter, which is very, very high. But in our South Lagoon, which is a smaller one, the levels were undetectable. But I think the problem is going to be possibly chlorides in this, which would just be like the salt. It's pretty high, and it's really high in the North Lagoon. It's not quite as high in the South Lagoon. That's why we have to wait and see. And hopefully the idea is that we're able to pump that South Lagoon out, equalize the two, and that'll give us more time to figure out a solution, because we're going to have to do something no matter even if we are able to do that. We're going to have to enhance that evaporation.
So you think most of that in the other one is just rainwater?
I do, yes.
And so we can pump it right in the creek and then bring the overflow over in the other one?
That's the hope, yes.
Put a fountain in it?
That's actually, yeah, that's, I've been in contact with a couple of companies, and what they do, they have, it's real fine mist what they have that really helps with that. But the engineer was saying that in Anthony, Kansas, they have a system that's almost identical to ours. But they have just one of those fountains that you see in like ponds.
Yeah.
And so that might be a more economical solution. So we're working in that direction as well.
Yeah, I thought he was working on it, so. Okay, well, keep working.
Okay, that's all I have for tonight.
We need to come up with solutions though. Okay, thank you, Brad. Dave?
Well, I guess as you know, since you paid the bill tonight, the latest pump has been, that the one pump was put in. The final tally, we had a $2,100 reduction in what the bid was, because some of the parts were provided with the motor, the thermals, which we thought we were gonna have to buy and didn't. So Andy gave us a break. He cut his bill by $1,600. So I just got it this afternoon, just after lunch, so we'll put that on the next bill. The next thing about that station is that we had discovered when we pulled the motors and the suction tubes out and the pipes and stuff. I brought the bucket in, I showed it, Mike saw it and the mayor saw it. There's a whole bunch of aggregate in the wet well. And we think that's probably the cause of why this pump failed. We found pieces as big as my fist. We found them all the way down to a whole bucket full down to my finger. I've talked with Roger Ingeman over to Troy. He's got a back truck, which is not working, but he said that he'd get some parts, get that thing up and running, get the seal put in it. And then I'm gonna have him vacuum that out and let's get it out of that wet well. And hopefully we'll save that new pump from having problems. But we won't go any further with it until we get that thing backed out. Now, there is a local guy in town. He contacted me yesterday. He's looking at one today. And, you know, I guess it's a race now, whoever gets here first. Whoever gets a vac truck over here is who we're going to use. So,
You think that's just coming in from with the sewage?
yeah, you know, there's a whole bunch of I&I that's come in and over. That station's never been vacuumed that I know of.
Okay.
And so that being said, yes, I'm sure that's where it came from. We found some rock. We found pieces of clay tile pipe.
I mean, it's not the well caving in or anything.
No, the
Deteriorating.
wet well itself is concrete,
Yeah.
but a lot of it's a road rock and,
Okay.
you know, it's got a lot of asphalt stuck to the smaller stuff.
Yeah.
And then the bigger stuff, I don't know, there's a storm sewer, I think, connected. We still think there is, but, you know, we just can't find it. You know, we're just struggling getting that. So, but we're making forward on that. Something else during the safety inspection that was held about a month ago, the city Hiawatha sewer plant had one item that they had to correct. I got it today and we got that fixed. So I'm pretty proud of that moment. The last thing that I have is for the past 7 months, let me restart. Every month we have to submit information to the KDHE on how the plant's being ran. We take samples, we have them tested, and then we have to submit that information to KDHE, and then they put it up for review. I'm very proud to announce that the last 7 months, we have run over 99% efficient at the wastewater treatment plant. And that's just fantastic. So the guys have been working really hard, you know, keeping things going and making progress and keeping that water going out as clean as it could possibly be. So, and that's all I have tonight.
John?
We've got 2 extra PBTs that have been sitting on the shelf. That's a preliminary breath testing unit. I know we've always been kind of encouraged to help Horton if need and they ask. I happened to be speaking to their assistant chief the other day. He said they were looking for PBTs. Like I said, we've got 2 that are not issued out, that we don't need to issue out. That we would like to let them utilize, should that be the will of the commission.
Those were donated.
Correct. We
to
have,
us, but
since I've been here, we have purchased maybe one, but through our grant efforts and things like that, we've gotten all the rest that we need. So we're not monetarily, we're not out anything.
Well, if we can help the community.
Yeah.
Second.
We appreciate it.
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, John. Stacy's not here. Tish. Okay. Andy.
Unless there's an objection from the commission, I would like to bring back a resolution for abatement of both nuisance and derelict vehicle at 108 South. I'm sorry, 108 East Miami Street. They've been served with notices at city court and have failed to appear there. So there's some derelict vehicles and some accumulation we'd like to remedy. That's all.
Good. Thank you. Mike.
Just a couple things. Want to let you know, I talked with Nick last week, and we decided the bricks from the streets up at the airport or at the burn pit are going to get moved to the water treatment plant property. It's gated. It'll be up on the hill, out of sight, out of mind, but gated. That way, there's no public access to them whatsoever. And then the last thing is, as you see on the dais, city holiday party, January 8th at the Fisher Center. Starts at 5:30. It is for, how do I say it? It's non-kid, non-child, it's just employees and commissioners and a guest, adult guest above the age of 21 or 21 or older. So we put that stipulation on it. But just RSVP to Jane downstairs or Stacy at the Fisher Center by December 22nd. And they have so I don't know how if it's absolutely required. It does say come dressed as your favorite holiday movie character. I don't know that that's absolutely required as much as it is encouraged. That's all I have tonight.
Okay. I have nothing. Brian.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this an awful lot, and since I came on, there's been a problem with our fire department. Gene, I want you to know this is nothing personal for me at all. I think that you were also kind of put in a position when you were appointed as police chief that was unfair to you and the rest of the guys up there. We've met several times with trying to figure this all out with guys. And I guess what I'd like to bring with everybody here is that I would like to let the volunteer fire department pick who leads them from here on out, starting today. They can make a vote. If it's you, that'd be wonderful. If it's somebody else, let them do that. But we can't keep going on like this. There's been way too much crap going on down there, and it's been going on for way too long. So what I'm asking is let our volunteers pick who they want leading the group. There's no reason to let it keep going. So however, we can make that happen, or we can let them vote as soon as, if they want to call a special meeting and let them appoint. Just let them vote on who they want to be the chief from here on out. I'm not interested in appointing anybody. I want them to do it on their own.
The commission take it under consideration for 2 weeks or what?
I want it to go as soon as possible. It's been going on way too long.
Then you need to make a motion.
I'd make a motion to allow our fire department to choose and vote their own chief. Effective immediately.
Do have a question.
Go ahead.
Would that be something we would have to change in the city,
Code?
the code on that there? Since that is done by appointment?
Yes, well, statute wise, it's by statute as well, that the governing body appoints. Historically, the governing body takes a recommendation from the fire department. They vote on it. At the time, when Gene was appointed, a recommendation was never brought forward. The qualifying recommendation was not brought forward. But every other, at least since I've been here, it's always department votes on it and then brings a recommendation.
And that, I think that's what the department and I would like to see as well, is let them appoint their own person and recommend their own person. If that's the better way to say this, let them recommend the person that they would like to see in there. And so we can get the fire department moving on in the right direction. I think right now it's basically a stalemate. I've heard that the trucks are in not good shape. I don't want to go into it too deep right now, but we need a change, and however we need to make that happen, it's time.
So it would be, and just so for my note, it'd be appointing them, recommending an appointment now, but then come May, there'd be another appointment.
Yes, that could be, that could
As
absolutely be
far
the
as
case.
code and all that.
If we want to say that it's an interim until May, or like I said, if it happens to be Gene, that everybody says that he can do it, then that's fine. But it needs to be them saying what it's gonna be.
Well, I think first meeting in May, I believe.
Yeah, that's when they
Yeah.
bring it back to the commission.
Yeah.
We also have some regulations about how far out the chief can live from town. Would that have to be modified?
Statute.
possibly?
There's multiple guys that are interested in doing it that live in town.
I mean, we'd still hold that.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
rule.
that's.
So is that something that can be done now or what? With,
So I guess I'm a little unclear whether, are we talking about changing our city's code so that the police department elects their own chief?
Fire department.
I'm sorry, the fire department selects their own chief.
No, I'm saying let them give us a name of who they want to be.
Okay.
Just
So you're
the way
talking-
yeah, just the way they.
So you're
always
talking
do it.
about allowing the fire department to make that recommendation?
Yes,
And then I think at that point, there would be, for that to be successful, then there would have to be a motion to terminate the present fire chief and then appoint the new fire chief. But I guess I don't know that there's an action to be taken tonight because I don't know what the fire department has as far as a recommendation. So I guess those are two different things. If we're looking to change the code, I can absolutely bring back what a code would look like with those provisions.
I don't want to make it harder than what it needs to be.
I mean, if you're talking about just currently right now, as opposed to changing the code, then I guess until we know what the fire department recommendation is.
Well, we need to. I think we're beating around the bush at this right now. If I need to make a motion to say remove him and let them appoint somebody else, is that how we need to word it?
That would take an act, that you could do that tonight.
Okay, well then that's the motion that I
Okay.
want to make, is that we
There's-
remove him and allow our fire department to make a recommendation of a new person.
There's a previous motion on the floor.
So
though.
was it actually a
Was it
second?
seconded?
Wasn't a second.
So if there's not a second for the previous motion, then it dies for lack of a second.
So then this is a new motion. To
Yeah,
re-
so the new motion would be to
remove the
Gene
current-
as police chief and allow our volunteers.
You mean?
Fire chief.
Fire chief.
Did I say please?
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
God,
I got it from you.
Yeah, sorry.
Fire and allow our guys to make a appoint whoever they see fit as a group. And then, I don't know. if
That would be
it's-
to fulfill the unexpired term.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there's a motion, there's a second.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Motion been made and seconded.
I just want to make sure we're doing everything, right.
I don't have a clue.
Yeah.
Just to foster discussion after the motion. You have questions, I guess, on structure of what we're doing tonight?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, that was my only thing is, are we allowed to do this? I mean, with the appointment and everything, are we allowed to make that change to where
Well, Gene was appointed.
correct.
And, so that's,
But that
that's a
was-
fact
And that was done with
by the commission.
by the commission. Okay.
So I myself am an appointed official for the city, and I think, yes, the appointed officials serve at the pleasure of the commission. Unless I'm
So
mistaken
John
on that.
and Mike and so is Stacy, whoever.
So, yeah, I'm just here. If there's
Right.
questions on procedure.
There's no violation of procedure of what we're doing, correct?
The appointed officials serve at the pleasure of the city.
Right.
So,
Just takes a majority.
Right.
So then in April, we'll do this again.
Yes.
it would be for the unexpired term, which would expire in April. Well, actually, this first meeting in
May
May.
1 or whatever.
Yeah, whatever it is.
We'll bring it right back. So, and there's a motion in a second, I guess, that I guess we're just gonna have a roll call.
Commissioner Shamber,
Nay.
Commissioner Wilkie,
All right.
Mayor Collins,
Nay. Motion carried. Take it to the committee. I guess you have a meeting, what, in a week from today? Yes, commission spoke, so there'll be a new, somebody have to be picked by committee, bring it back to commission. And commission approve or deny it, so. Okay. Yeah, you can, you bet.
That's how we vote anyways. The fire department gives you guys the name that we want as chief. Now, in my predicament, that opportunity didn't happen because we took one person out. And I was the first assistant, so I filled that spot. But we normally do that. We vote in May. We nominate the people we want. We bring those names to you. I mean, we already do that.
Well, I guess what the consensus is tonight is that we're Yes, for this to actually, you're the acting chief yet, so you're gonna have to address it, so. I can address it.
Well, Paul Schaefer
Yeah.
is, Andy's gonna send him an email. Let him know that as of right now, he's acting chief until a name is brought back and an appointment made by the commission.
Was to remove him effectively and then allow them to replace him.
Well, then, if we're gonna, we're talking about appointing somebody again, so I guess we're gonna appoint somebody then.
With the recommendation of the fire department, though. We're not gonna just appoint somebody. The fire department's gonna vote on it like they should have and appoint and make a
Well, so-
recommendation to us.
So he's not appointed until after. I guess I'm unclear
Well,
where
I
you're
guess
at.
he would be an
Because
interim.
if it's gonna go for the committee,
He's serving as,
Someone has responsibility right now if there's a fire.
right. It's just letting him know that he's,
We're not, it's not an appointment. Someone has. to
as the
take
first chief,
responsibility.
yeah, he's responsible until
Whatever.
appointment's made.
all right, we beat that dead horse to death, so we'll go on. Everything else, Brian?
I think that'll be it tonight.
Evans,
I have nothing.
Becky,
Nothing.
Dave,
Nothing.
there must be adjourned.
So moved.
Second.
Been made and second with adjourn. Call,
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
motion carried.